on social media and all these different things, that when we get a certain age that, there's a certain way we should be moving in life. And that is not so. It's all in your mindset. So
It's an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Andrea, and on this channel, we talk about all things related to mature living for the woman over 50. So if you're interested, stay tuned.
So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my monthly reflections for the month of May. Every month, I like to take a look at the previous month and determine what were my favorites, and I have different categories. I'm going to share them with you shortly. So before we get started, I want to just talk about what I have on. My earrings are Bottega dupes from Amazon. This necklace is from the Living Fearless collection, livingfearless.com. I'll put a link in the comment section. This is a bodysuit I picked up when I was in Minnesota at Burlington Coat Factory. I'll put a picture up somewhere with the entire outfit, but the belt is from Ross. The yellow shorts are from Target. I picked them up from Target probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And my shoes are some black wedges from DSW, and I've had them for probably 4 years or so. So now let's jump right into it. So the month of May, first of all, can you believe we're already halfway through the year, right? And so this year has been great. I find doing these videos of reflections a great way to stay connected with what I personally am doing over the course of a year. A lot of times as we begin new years, we start out with a lot of ideas about, physical progress, career, having fun, trips or whatever, but then we don't actually do them, or maybe not as often as we would like to, right? And so this is just a great way to sort of wrap up each month, take a look at what I've done, didn't do, what were my happies, my highs, my lows for the previous month, and then I can sort of adjust the next month or the rest of the year accordingly. So if you've seen my monthly reflections before, you know what it entails, a lot of my favorites of the month. And if you're new here, listen, go back and check out some of my other monthly reflections, especially beginning at the top of the year. And then that way you can kind of see where my progression or how some of those favorites or monthly activities connect. Okay, so let's get started. Listen, so I start off with like favorite movie of the month. Now, you guys know, if you've been rocking with me for a little bit, I'm not a huge like movie person. I'm more of a YouTube, Hulu, Netflix series, old movies, right? I just really am, right? But however, I did watch a full movie this month, and it is a full new movie, and it is The Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Now, it's an older movie, new to me, right? But the Planet of the Apes has a new movie, and I do desire to see it. However, I wanted to kind of watch a couple of the older versions of the movie, or parts of the movie, so that when I see the movie that just came out, I'll kind of know what's going on. So I did watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So hooray for me, for watching a full movie. So next category is shows. And shows can mean, a place that I went to, maybe even a show or series that I watched on television. But in the month of May, I actually went out to 2 specific live events or shows. And so the first one was a live music show. And if you've been watching the vlogs, you saw it. I went out to Charlottesville with a friend of mine, aka Mr. New York, and we saw a group called the Thievery Corporation. Now, it's kind of like in my opinion, like an indie or band group. I think the genre is called trip hop. Don't hold me to that. However, it was interesting. It was good. It had kind of a reggae, house, jazz flair in the music, and they had a variety of singers in that actual group. And so it was very fun, out of my norm, but we had a great, wonderful time. And so I had an opportunity, the venue was about an hour away in Charlottesville. And so we went and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. The energy and the vibe um, of the participants, or the participants audience. There you go. The audience, the audience was great, and I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Now listen, y'all know sometimes y'all over 50, sometimes it's just you get a little lost for words, right? I'm working on how to fix that. Long term, great. Sometimes the short term, not so good, but nevertheless. Next show that I went to was a live comedy show here in Richmond, and I saw Ari Spears, I think is his name, Ari Spears. It's a gentleman, and he was a comedian, and I had the opportunity to go out for the night and just enjoy some laughter. He was pretty raw. However, it was a good, funny show. It was just funny. So I had a really, really good time. I had the opportunity to go out with two friends and thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. So next, let's talk about books. So you guys know I've been reading, if you've been following, um, a book a month or a little over a month with my two nieces. Right, adult nieces, they're adult nieces. And then also I'm always reading a ton of books right at once, right? So this month we read Ethic Book 2, and I'm going to read a little synopsis of that. And I think there's 6 books in the series, so we're going to be starting book 3 for the month of June, but we read Ethic Book 2. And then I am still working through the book called How to Do the Work, and that is a sort of self-help nonfiction book around our human behavior experiences as adults, right? How our, childhood, if you will, and traumas in our life affects our current behaviors. So, I am a certified life coach. I love all things human behavior. However, this book it's for me as well, right? But I'm learning as I'm working through this book. And also, it's not something you just read straight through. There's a lot of assignments. There's a lot of thought-provoking activities. And I wanted to really, really finish the book for the month of May. I probably have maybe even, I don't even know if it's 30 pages left, but I do want to complete it in the right way, if that makes sense. So I am very confident I'll be completing that book in the month of June. I'm also reading some other books, and I'll talk about those in June as I go more in depth. I'm reading all the time, but I do have focus reading. So yeah, now let me give you a little input or insight on Ethic Book 2. Okay, Ethic Book 2. So if you know, this is technically the third book in the Ethic series, because the first book is not entitled Ethic. However, it was recommended to read that book. I'll put it up here somewhere before you start the series. And this book, as I've said before, is an urban fiction type of series. And so let me just give you sort of an overview from Amazon about Ethic Book 2. And it says this: love should burn slow, but Ezra Ethic Okafor is always fast and fleeing. After an accidental killing affects Alani, the woman he loves, she thinks he's a monster. Separated by tragedy, the pair endure a loss like nothing they have ever felt, and their connection is impossible to repair. Ethic is reduced to misery and raising his children alone once again, with Morgan in the throes of a passionate love affair and Bella in need of guidance that he can't provide. Ethic is in turmoil. He's failing as a man, and the fingerprint he is leaving on the world is a bloody one. In this second installment of the epic love story, Ashley Antoinette taps into the soul of her listeners as she explores the limits of love and forgiveness. Is anything truly unforgivable? I'm telling y'all, this is good. This book is good. Or is Ethic the one man who can love a woman back from the edge of madness? And let me tell you, this author has done a fabulous job because the turns of this story, or these individual, or sequel of stories surrounded by Ethic Okafor, is absolutely amazing, engaging, and captivating, right? I primarily listen to it on Audible, so while I'm walking or doing things around the house, and it excuse me, even the narrators that have been chosen to read the book have done a fabulous job. So if you're looking for something to sort of get away, if you will, nothing serious, because that's what I need in my life. I'm always reading nonfiction, self-help, spiritual books, which is all good, right? But sometimes you just need a little light getaway. This series is definitely for you. And again, it's urban fiction, so it's urban. Okay, so if that's not your thing, or try something a little new. You'll be surprised at what you may find interesting. So yes, the book that I fully completed for the month of May was Ethic Book 2 by Ashley Antoinette. Now, my next category I sort of entitled Sips and Food, right? And so this month I had one of my favorites, which is sort of hard to find at times, which was fried green tomatoes and grits. So when I went out to Charlottesville for the live music concert, Mr. New York and I went to a restaurant there. I don't remember the name. I want to say Rapture, but I'll look it back up. And they had actually fried green tomatoes on the menu. So I was excited. So I had that, and that was absolutely delicious. I haven't had that in quite some time. There is one place here in Richmond that I know I can go to, but sometimes I kind of forget about it because it's not in the path that I normally travel. But I had fried green tomatoes, so that was exciting. And then secondly, I had a couple times last month, Gabby is home. This is my college daughter. She's a rising junior, and she's a foodie. So we love trying new restaurants. We're both vegetarians, so we're always out and about, trying new places. And we've been to this place before, but it is a bakery shop. So if you haven't looked at my vlog, I think it's the Mother's Day vlog. I'm sorry. However, this place it's not a bakery, but it is a cake place. I don't know, treats, dessert specialty shop called Shindigs in Richmond, Virginia. Shindigs. I'll put the info on here, and maybe I'll pop up some pictures too from that restaurant. But they have all types of sweet treats, like 5-layer cakes, cookies, chocolate, just everything. And so I think twice last month I had some like salted caramel chocolate cake from Shindigs. So yes, fried green tomatoes and grits and salted caramel chocolate cake from Shindigs were the monthly favorites in the Sips and Food category. Yeah, which will make sense when I talk to you about my goals for next month. Now, in terms of reflection around my home, it is spring, sort of, spring cleanup. And I love having like flowers around the outside of my home and plants and things of that nature. So one of the things I did do was I cleaned off my front porch, and I have some chairs there, cleaned those all off, and I purchased some ferns for the front of my porch, which brings so much life, to my yard and to my porch. And so that's a small thing, but I did purchase a couple of ferns and put them on my porch. I might put some pictures here, and kind of cleaned off my lawn chairs and stuff. Lawn chairs, I guess they're termed, but they're on my porch, just to sort of kick off spring and summer. I still have some things to do in my backyard, on my deck, and hopefully I'll be able to share those things with you over the next month or so. Okay, and so now what were like my most memorable moments for the month of May? So of course, I hope you guys have all seen the vlog from my trip to Minnesota. So kicking off the month, right at the beginning of the month, May 1st, 2nd, whatever, I went out to the Minneapolis, Minnesota area, spent some time in St. Paul and outside of Minneapolis. And I went and saw my very best friend, who we've been friends for over 20 years, spent a whole day with her in St. Paul. And then I joined a couple of my other friends outside of St. Paul for a sort of ministry women's event there outside of the Minneapolis area. And I had such a great time, visited the Mall of America, had great food, had many laughs, met some amazing women, and just had a wonderful, much needed time of getting away. And it was just wonderful. It was just definitely a wonderful, memorable moment for the month of May. The second thing is my Mother's Day with my daughter Gabby. Troy was tied up with some things, but I did have an opportunity to spend the day with Gabby. She brought me some flowers. We went out to, to eat. We had like our favorite Torchy's, one of our favorites, Torchy's tacos, and we spent time in an area in Richmond called Carytown. If you're from the Richmond area or familiar, it's a popular area of Richmond, lots of stores and shops. And mind you, that's where we also picked up some of that chocolate cake that I was talking about. But it's so good to spend time with her in this season of her life. She is 19, she'll be 20 actually this week, beginning of June. And having her home for a couple of months and sort of connecting, reconnecting, is always a beautiful thing. She has such a beautiful spirit. And I just enjoy spending time with her, and watching your kids grow up and see them transition in different seasons of their life is really a beautiful thing. And so those are my two outstanding, memorable moments for the month of May. Okay, so what was the lesson that I learned for the month of May? Right at the end of May, this is what stood out to me. So the first thing is this. One of my favorite books is called The Four Agreements. If you've never read it, it is a short read. It is 4 principles, if you will, or quote unquote agreements that the author Don Miguel Ruiz suggests that you sort of implement in your life. I learned about this particular book through a coach that I used to, work with. This book was suggested by her for a program that I was in with like 50 other coaches, right? And just really to embody these principles in our lives will help us to be better people, to be better coaches, leaders, and entrepreneurs. And so, with that being said, one of the agreements of this book is called Do Not Make Assumptions. Do not make assumptions. Do not assume what somebody wants, what somebody needs, what somebody thinks. And in addition, you be clear with your communication to the people that you deal with on your job, and with your family, in relationships, right? Don't make assumptions. And oftentimes, as individuals, we make a ton of assumptions without getting clarity, without asking questions, without sharing our feelings. And right at the end of the month, I had a conversation with someone who there was a misunderstanding. And that misunderstanding was based on this principle because there were assumptions made. And with those made assumptions, the communication was broken down and it really put a dent in the relationship. So I'm sharing with you, and I'm not sharing on what side what was what. However, don't make assumptions. So it also just reminded me to make sure in the forefront of my life that I'm not making assumptions, but also that I am very clear in what I am communicating and articulating to other people, and that I don't have an expectation that they can read my mind. Don't make assumptions. That is my primary lesson learned for the month of May. And so, as we move into the month of June, actually, it is already the top of June. What are some things that I want to improve? And you guys know I say all the time, I have a ton of individual, personal, spiritual, financial goals and things, business goals for myself. But I will share, one of those things here to sort of be accountable to y'all, right? And so for the month of June, the area that I want to improve is with my exercise consistency and taking my supplements and drinking my water. I have kind of fallen off the bandwagon with that in May, even with my walking. And I'm going to blame it on physical therapy, right? I'm just kidding. But I just have, with the trip and different things and working some extra this month, it kind of threw me off. So I really want to get back on track with my usual routine of health and wellness. my weight and all that is fine. I just had all my, testing done in March, but I recognize that if I'm not consistent, that this may not be the case, right? At this season of my life. So I really want to hone in on a more structured, with PT being included, because it doesn't look like, I think I'm going to probably still be doing PT for this next month or so, right? Even though I have great progress with this right shoulder and I am very glad, but I still have the other parts of my body that I need to be mindful of and I need to take care of as well, my cardio and all the things, right? So we're looking to improve that consistently, and I'm going to talk to my accountability partner about that. And I have a couple of challenges, and I may mention them later, but I want to talk to her about them. If you've heard me talk before, I do have a wellness accountability partner. We meet at least once a week, or like at least a couple times a month, and kind of share our wellness, health and wellness goals, and we encourage one another and hold each other accountable to the things that we say we want to do. And just with that being said, just really, really quickly, hopefully as I do these reflections, or maybe you're resetting for the second half of the year, accountability is such a huge part of success. And I know that not only being a life coach to other women and to other individuals, but also in having coaches or mentors or people in my life to hold me accountable to the things that I say that I want. Even though we're at a different season of our life, we all still have aspirations and things that we want to do. And the best way and most effective way is to bring somebody into that desire that you have, and where they can hold you accountable, or even just check in with you, or maybe you're working towards similar goals, right? If we can do a lot of this on our own, we would have done it by now. And so if there's something that you have been wanting to do and maybe not have been as successful as you like, my question for you is, who's holding you accountable to that thing? So whether it's a spiritual goal or aspect, or even a physical wellness goal, or even financial or social, right? Think about dating. I talk about that all the time. A lot of times, in this season of our life, we want to meet people, but we're not really meeting people, right? And why are we not really meeting people? Maybe perhaps we're really not doing the things that we need to do to meet people outside of getting online. That's a whole nother story. I'm not going to talk about that here today. But I just want to challenge you in terms of the accountability piece. Who's holding you accountable to the things that you say that you want? And we're midway throughout the year, just something for you to think about. And if you need more information or suggestions, shoot me a DM right here on YouTube, and I hopefully can answer any questions that you may have. And lastly, before I wrap up this video, just remember, it is never too late. It's never too late to start something new. It's never too late to pursue that goal that you've always wanted in your life. It's never too late. There are so many individuals. One that comes to mind is daggone Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Colonel Sanders. I don't know if that's his real name or not, but I do remember reading part or a snippet of his biography that said he sold his chicken recipe like in his 60s. So he didn't become affluent and famous and all of that until his 60s. Right. And I think that sometimes society can make us feel like, based on social media and all these different things, that when we get a certain age that, there's a certain way we should be moving in life. And that is not so. It's all in your mindset. So I just want to challenge you and encourage you today that as we are sitting here halfway through the year of 2024, that whatever you want to do, do it. Right. And it may take some baby steps. It may take some small commitments, some small goals, but it's never too late to do the thing that you've always wanted to do. And so those are my monthly reflections for the month of May. Again, thank you so much for joining and supporting this new channel, because it's still technically new. I don't even think I've uploaded 50 videos yet. But if you're watching, you like what you see, make sure that you like this video. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button so that you can get all future notifications of my uploads. And if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below, and I will do my best to list anything that I've mentioned in this video today below in the comment section. So again, Andrea M. Stuckey here. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye. Mwah!